Good evening, bonsoir. Bienvenue à la séance extraordinaire publique du 27 novembre. Welcome to the special public meeting on November 27th. Ms. Parker, do we have any items to be added or removed?
There are no items to be added or removed.
Do we have any declaration of conflict of interest?
No conflicts of interest were declared.
Perfect. We'll move over to finance. We will be looking at 2024 budget, update on timelines, le budget 2024, mise à jour des échéances. Mr. Pettigrew?
Thank you, Your Worship. I put some quick speaking notes together here. It's not a fancy presentation, but more or less PowerPoint. So we make sure we go through some of the speaking notes so we all can discuss and make sure we cover everything. So just for some clarity, these are the required budget approvals that we need to pass this year. We need a general operating fund budget. We need a general capital fund budget. We also need a utility operating fund and a utility capital fund. Next slide. So we also require required resolutions. Underneath the general operating fund, we're going to require a working session with council to discuss proposed tax rates and provide updates on the outstanding items. So at the end of the meeting, we'll go through some possible dates, but I'll just want to kind of give a quick summary of what the next steps are, what we're looking at. We'll have to do a tax warrant, utility operating fund, and then also the resolutions required for the budget approval are the general operating fund, tax warrant, utility operating fund, general capital fund, and utility capital fund. Next slide. Under the general operating fund, again, just so people are aware, there are some items that we were waiting for. We will clean those up and we will have those ready for the next meeting to have a working session or a discussion on that. Under the utility operating fund, it should be noted that any change to the water rate requires a modification to the bylaw 2004-01. So any proposed bylaw must be read 3 times by council in order to be approved. So the readings also must take place a minimum of 2 separate meetings. So it's important just to lay the timelines out because you'll see later on, based on the time we have left to make sure we meet our deadlines, is why I'm just laying out that we need to have 2 separate meetings. And then again, under the general capital fund and the utility capital fund, will require some resolutions from council on those as well. Next slide. So under the new utility operating fund, we're in the process now of preparing a new budget with a metered rate. It's going to include a recommended increase rate. I can clarify. You can see when we made this today, there was an increase rate percentage, but the recommended increase rate, and again, we'll have more details next week, but we're looking at 14% at a minimum of 14% increase across the board for all residential and non-residential. So if there are no changes to the bylaw by the year 2004-01 before the end of December, the current rate will remain in place, which will mean we'll have a shortfall for budgeted revenues in January of 2024. Next slide. Another consideration we need to look at is part of these timelines that we have to have borrowing for capital projects require that we adopt resolutions because we have to submit an application to the Municipal Capital and Borrowing Board. So we have already missed the January deadline and the January hearing. We have one last opportunity to submit an application for the February hearing without impacting our capital projects for the summer of 2024. So the last opportunity to submit an application for the February hearing is January 3rd. What happens is in the March hearing, you'll need to provide your financial statements or your financial documents, and we typically only receive the completed audits in June. So we will miss the construction season before we'll be able to apply to the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board if we don't get it into the February hearing. Otherwise, the rules change, and then it pushes our construction season later into the, well, we probably wouldn't have a whole lot, we wouldn't have any capital work. It'd be late June before we even get an approval or recommendation back from the province. Next slide. So what we were looking at is the next regular public meeting is scheduled for Monday, December 18th. We're probably looking at having special public meetings at a minimum on December 4th and on December 11th to meet those deadlines. Another important thing to notice is people have heard the deadline on November 15th. We've already missed that deadline to submit to the province, but we will continue and proceed and try to get it before the end of the year. Well, we'll need to get it before the end of the year to proceed with our changes for the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board and for our utility rate. So Really just to say, any further delays in this budget process, we might impact our 2024 operations. So I think it's real important that we, are open to have December 4th and December 11th meetings. To give a little more detail on December 4th, what we're looking at is possibly having, I guess, a working session for the general operating fund and the utility operating fund, look at some of the conditions and look at some of the tax rates, look at a proposed tax rate. Any of the things that were changed from the Regional Service Commission, et cetera, will be all incorporated and we'll be able to package all that. So December 4th, we're comfortable that we'll have enough information, we'll have all the data by then to be able to bring that forward on the 4th. We'd also, on the 4th, like to introduce the utility operating fund, the new metered budget with the addicts expenses versus the bylaw changes as well. So we would look at that and then have more details on where the 14%, if it's 14%, like I said, it's a quick number. There's still some data we want to verify, but we can say we're at least 14% looking at a rate increase across the board. And then, looking at the December 11th meeting, could potentially be a water and sewer bylaw first reading. And then December 18th could be the water and sewer bylaw second and third reading. It allows the staff the time to increase that because they will, or to enter the data because they will have to program that information in December to submit into the system. So on January 1st, everything will be in place for the proper billing. And again, so more or less, we did receive information from the province on the November 21st that we were past a budget deadline of November 15th, but they're working with us and we'll proceed moving forward as fast as we can to get those before the end of the year. So that's really just a quick action plan of what the plan looks like moving forward on what we plan on bringing forward. So there might be some other special meetings or special public meetings we'll need to have in there to get things going, but there are some timelines based on bylaws that we have to have multiple readings, so we have to make sure that we can't do them all in one meeting. So that's it.
Councillor LeBlanc?
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. Ce serait pour la question ira à Monsieur Pettigrew. Monsieur Pettigrew, la raison qu'on est en retard, est-ce que c'est qu'on n'a pas approuvé le budget encore, évidemment, j'assume, c'est ça?
J'ai pas entendu.
La raison de notre retard, présentement, c'est à cause qu'on n'a pas encore complété l'approbation du budget.
Oui.
C'est ça? OK. Mais dans l'approbation du budget, une des choses qu'on attendait, c'était l'information de la GRC. Est-ce qu'on a reçu cette information? Voilà.
Moi, j'étais confident qu'on va avoir d'informations avant le 4 décembre.
On va l'avoir avant le 4 décembre,
Oui.
parfait. Donc, c'est des bonnes nouvelles que le gouvernement provincial travaille avec nous. L'autre chose, on dirait que ça contredit, là, peut-être moi qui ai mal compris tout à l'heure. Tu disais que...
We don't have public transportation, on n'a pas translation, by the way, so nobody's
Oh.
understanding what you're saying. We don't have translation, so, just so you know.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Nobody? 53% of us are
Yeah.
francophone in
I
this
know.
city.
I know.
So I wouldn't go with nobody, but
Yeah.
some of us. All right. You were talking about proposing an unbalanced budget. Did I understand that correctly for the utilities? That we're
No.
with a deficit? We're not allowed to do that, are we?
No, what
Did I
we'll
misunderstand?
have to bring back on December 4th is the utility budget. We'll have to propose a new metered rate to ensure we have a balanced budget. So the discussion is on December 4th. The finance team will bring forward and the operation will bring forward the information based on the rate increase, which we will discuss and have that discussion on what that means. All the budgets need to be balanced. You have to have a balanced budget or it can't be.
Well, that's what I thought. There was a line there, the way you said it, I was understanding that we would be looking at not balancing, and I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't
sorry.
think we
If I
were
missed
allowed-
it- Yeah, if I missed it, that.
Well, it might be my misunderstanding too. There's a lot of information, so, all right, thank you. That's all I had.
All right. Deputy Mayor Anderson?
Thank you, Your Worship. Is it possible that on the meeting for December 4th, that the fixed rate be brought back for discussion for the water bills?
Mr. Pettigrew?
Yes, that if that's, council can add that. If at a regular public meeting, they can add those items to an agenda. They would advise the city clerk to add that. It can be an item
Because
added to the agenda.
as I've stated since the beginning of discussion with the fixed water rate, I was never opposed to the fixed water rate. I was opposed to the implications for a certain portion of our city. So I would like to bring it back for further discussion, along with ideas that I have in my head that may be able to facilitate that.
Okay. So yeah, Ms. Parker noted, and we'll add that to the December 4th meeting agenda.
So would we have to bring it on December 4th, or can we bring that prior, sooner?
It's really up to council.
If we wanted to have a special public meeting?
You could advise that you would like a special public meeting, and you could advise a date to have that to discuss it. It's really up to council. So the next meeting we had scheduled was December 4th, or if you want, you can do that before.
Okay, because we're on crunch time. And if we want to sit down and discuss the issue and come up with ideas, we're limiting time if we
I'm
wait.
free all week.
Yeah,
Just saying.
I'm throwing it out there. Councillor Burnett?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Well, the vote on the fixed rate was 6-3. Do we need somebody who voted for it to bring it back? Or what's the procedures that, can we just keep bringing items back that get defeated over and over and over again?
If a naysayer wants to bring it back, it can be brought back, yes.
Really?
Yeah, it can.
That quickly, not within a month or two?
Nope, that quickly.
Every
Especially
day.
when we're trying to finalize a budget, yeah.
Geez, I'm gonna look that rule up.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think so. But anyway, check it out for me, please.
Okay.
Because according to, well, we don't go by Roberts, you know?
well, I'll go to Monsieur Laplante.
Thank you, Your Worship. Our procedural bylaw allows for any member who voted with the majority to bring a motion to reconsider at the next regular meeting or before the next
No,
regular meeting.
okay. No, my other question on Madam Mayor, oops, okay, yeah.
Yep, you're still there.
You said that you're looking at 14% for the water rate the way it is. What have we raised it in the 2.5 years that we've been here? Water rate's gone up, I think Deputy Mayor Anderson said 20-some percent, was it? Yeah.
Well, we need to balance the budget, and I'll go to Mr. Pettigrew. I don't want to start explaining all this, and maybe let Mr. Pettigrew explain that portion.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, there has been some numerous increases. What we've traditionally seen is when you've increased the rates by, say, 8%, we've actually seen a 4% decrease in consumption, so we haven't actually seen the 8% increase in revenues as expected, because with an increase, there's a correlation with a decrease in consumption, so we definitely have not ever received the revenues as projected. Ms. Gauvin might be able to provide the exact number for the last number of years. I don't have that right in front of me, and I'll be fully honest on that, so.
Madame Gauvin, are you able to share that?
Just gonna open my,
I could wait till the next meeting when we do utility too.
Yep, okay, I'll give you
Thank you.
back the
We
mic.
will be able to have more discussion on the 4th. We'll
Yeah.
have more information, more data when we can answer those questions at that time.
I might be away.
Right. Councillor Legacy?
If we are to bring back the discussion on the fixed rates, is that a new first reading, or if the vote were to change, do we go directly to the second one on the following meeting?
Monsieur Laplante?
Well, we would be, council would be reconsidering the motion to approve the first reading. So the first reading would, if the vote were to pass, would have been held on the 4th, and then the second and third reading can happen on either the 11th, the 18th, or both.
Okay. And we had said that without having a policy updated, we have to keep the same rates, but when I asked at the first meeting that we discussed water, we said we can change it at any time. I know for the budget itself, it would be locked in with that rate, but we could still change it during the year, correct?
Mr. Pettigrew?
Yeah, the bylaw, at some point, the bylaw, normally do at the beginning of a billing cycle to ensure that, yeah, all those would have, but I'm not sure if it can be retroactive, that you're not gonna invoice and update the individuals that you bill, because you send a bill out in January for the billing cycle, so they would be under the previous or old system versus the changes, so. Operationally, you normally would stick to a budget year of January. But yes, at some point, you can discuss any of these things at any point. It's just a matter of when you interact or make them active, so.
I would strongly recommend against it, because if we remember the presentation that we got from Mr. Abernathy, you know, there's a lot of work that needs to get done, and that's going to affect his department.
And I would also recommend, we've all agreed at the beginning of the year that we would do a lot of our budget meetings on Wednesdays. If we need to add in Wednesdays to meet these deadlines, that's just continuing the process we already set in place. So if we need those, put those dates in there.
Okay, add a special public on Wednesday if we need to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Councillor Branch?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want clarification. A naysayer can bring it back for reconsideration, but it doesn't really sound like that's what Deputy Mayor Anderson wants, is reconsideration of the vote. It sounds like she wants to bring up other options and we would debate it again. So does that change anything, or is that?
Monsieur Laplante?
The motion is for the first reading of the bylaw. The first reading of the bylaw is really council accepting accepting to consider the document. There can still be amendments at any time until the third reading of the bylaw. So council could reconsider the motion to proceed with the first reading of the bylaw and still make amendments at any time until that third reading.
Yeah, the
Okay,
first
so
reading
we
is
could debate it.
accepting it, and the second reading is when, well, we could be discussing the changes. Any changes can be done until you get to the third reading.
Thank you.
Answers the question? Okay. All right, any other question? Oh, Monsieur Laplante?
Oh, sorry, I was trying to close it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for being with us, and we're probably going to be having a couple of meetings coming up real quick. So, have a good evening.